Hello, everyone. Good morning. Before we start, I would like to definitely thank Bayt team for this opportunity, for creating it, and equally important to thank all the participants, all of you who are with us today, for giving us your time, for being focused, and this is actually one very strong way of fighting COVID-19 by staying focused, keeping busy, and being part of such events and meetings. So thanks, everyone. My presentation today, it's gonna be basically divided into three main folds. The first one, I'm going to be talking a little bit about Phoenix Consulting, so you would know with whom you're engaging, what do we do, who we are. I'm going to try to be quick on this one. The second fold, it's going to be also about Phoenix, but from the crisis perspective. Means how we as Phoenix Consulting team have dealt internally and externally with the COVID-19. What did we do? How we're dealing with it? So we're not only basically preaching about this, but also we are practicing what we're preaching. So that's the second fold. And the third fold, and I would say the most important one, is about the state of remote work. What are the competencies that are important to show and to practice during such a crisis, which definitely unprecedented, and we all know that. How we can maximize the success while we're working remotely. And finally, the last part of this fold is around the importance of personality assessment for the businesses, for your companies, for your firms where you're working. And at the end, as Ursula said, we'll open the floor for Q&A. But also, I mean, if during the presentation, we know there is a little bit of sequence of thoughts there. If you want to jump in and ask, I think, I don't know if technically that's possible, but from my side, I will be more than happy to answer questions while going through the presentation. Okay? Is everybody hearing me? Is it okay? It's hard to have a feel because I cannot see anything. I can just see my slides. So
yes, we are hearing you.
Yes.
Zahi, thank you.
Okay, great, excellent. So who we are and what we do as Phoenix. In a nutshell, Phoenix Consulting is a boutique management and HR consulting firm. It was born in the region and for the region firms and enterprises and governments. Why I'm saying this? I'm saying this because we know, I mean, and definitely with all respect, we've all worked with the global firms. They are schools in the management and HR consulting. However, being from the culture, from the region, you would maybe understand a little bit more its challenges. You can relate more to the difficulties that both the entrepreneurs, the owners, and the employees and the management are facing. So the dream started by creating this boutique firm in 2010, and that's what happened. We started in Beirut, Lebanon, as a headquarter. And then in less than a year, we opened up our office in Muscat, Oman. And less than a year back, we opened our office in Cairo, Egypt. With those 3 offices, we are servicing the whole MENA region from Egypt, Sudan down to Oman, passing by the Levant area and the whole GCC. That's in a nutshell a quick summary about Phoenix. What differentiates us from maybe other consulting firm, I mentioned the global firms, that we do have the global expertise. 90% of our consultants and the team, they have passed through similar experience with the global firms. However, we do have a strong regional understanding and we have the local focus. That's basically our value proposition to our clients, that we are bringing global expertise to their companies, wherever they are in the MENA region. What we do as a management and HR consulting firm, basically our bread and butter is consulting. So we advise companies on how they go with their structure, their operating model, what's the needed manpower that they need based on their operations. This is what we call organizational consulting. The second service line that we do is around reward consulting. Anything related to job analysis, understanding jobs, evaluating jobs, designing grading structure, and linking all of this that's underpinned with methodologies, our own methodologies, Phoenix methodologies, to salary scales, incentive, bonuses. So anything that's related to the what we call reward framework. The third service line, if you can see it on the top left of the screen, it's around talent management consulting. So anything related to that, to talent, competencies, assessment, succession planning, career path, designing what might be the career path of each employee can be based on certain assessments and based on certain performance management results. So those are, we can say the flagship. This is our playground. However, to support these 3 service lines, we need databases, we need tools, we need methodologies, and yes, as I mentioned, our competitive edge is understanding the region and having the local focus. However, what we miss, and we have brought this into our offerings through global and strategic partnership, and I would say the most 2 partnerships that we have. One with Willis Towers Watson, a very famous management and HR consulting firm, and Hogan. I'm not sure if you have heard of Hogan, but it's one of the global leader in personality assessment. We represent them in the area. We tap on their benchmark and on their data so we can bring the best solutions to our clients. Starting with those 3 service lines, if you go to the bottom of the page and the right side hand of the page, those are the services that we have added to Phoenix Consulting offerings from basically a perspective of complementing all of our services to the clients. So if the clients were supporting them in designing their reward strategy and they need help and support and advice on their training services, on their recruitment, on their psychometric solutions. When we started Phoenix, we didn't have what we call integrated services. Thank God now we have all of these integrated services. Just to mention regarding the talent acquisition, we don't mean to whatsoever compete with Bayt. Bayt also is a partner for us. What we do is more around the recruitment strategy, the recruitment process, and we might help sometimes. We don't go proactively, but we can help sometimes in some headhunting exercises. Okay. The second slide is just a visual that would show you what I mentioned about integrated service lines. So we do it from A to Z, anything regarding HR practices in any organization. It's worth mentioning that we work with public sector as well as we work with private sector. Now, to the second fold in our presentation, how Phoenix Consulting as a team, we've dealt with the crisis that we started facing more than 2 months back. As I mentioned earlier, there is the internal side of it and there is the external side of it. I'll start with the internal side of it. As you can see on the map, we're spread around the region, which means we are somehow used to work remotely, to work as a team, though we are not on the same geography or in the same country. However, definitely the parameters and the dimensions of Corona has put a lot of pressure on us, despite being used to such a model of working remotely. For us, the first priority for all of us, from the management to the whole population of Phoenix, really was around health safety. I remember well, before any government took decisions and put regulations to stop people from going to their offices, we stopped going to our offices in the 3 countries where we operate. We were kind of I would say advanced, or maybe we wanted to mitigate any risk, regardless of the business implications. I remember we had an assessment center in Oman and we were lining up 6 consultants to move to Oman from Egypt, Lebanon, and to join their colleagues in Oman to run an assessment center, and we called it off. We called the client, definitely we discussed with them. We said, well, there is a huge risk on our team and a huge risk on your people as well, because they're going to be sitting together, they're going to be shaking hands, etc. And luckily, they were responsive. They accepted that we run the assessment center virtually and online. So for us, health was the top priority that we're not gonna compromise on, regardless. The second element, which was also important, is the emotional safety. Means you can stay healthy, you can avoid having, infected by the virus, but maybe you might, use your mind after being home for God knows how many weeks and months. So what we've done, we increased the communication. We kept in close touch with the team, among each other. Whether is it for work or it's just to chat, just to make sure we are emotionally supporting each other. And that happened also through what the third aspect, which is the online team gatherings. We have arranged team gatherings, like when you go with the team to a restaurant and stuff like this. What we did, we did it virtually. Everyone from his home, everyone has his pet. Actually, at one point there was a discussion about having a pet pager. The idea again is how to overcome this crisis and let it pass while we are healthy, emotionally strong and robust, and the relationship among each other is also solid, as if nothing has happened. So all of these internal measures that we have taken have helped us to also look outside to our clients. At the end, there is a clients out there that they rely on us. They want our support, and there was projects happening. We were there for them. So practically, I'm giving just 3 examples. Those are the main things that we've done during the last 2 months. We have quickly turned the business into an online business, and specifically our certification programs, the Hogan certification programs, which is a global certification. We used to run it 3-4 times per year in the region, once in Beirut, once or twice in Oman, and once or twice in Cairo. Quickly, within 1 or 2 weeks, let's say, and here I would like to thank Hogan USA for their support in transferring the whole certification into an online one. We adapted all of these changes, and we were ready. The first online certification took place April 22 and 23rd, and now we are lining up the participants and the preparation for our second online certification on May 18 and 19. The interesting part, I would like to share this with you. The interesting part about the first certification, literally, we've had more participants than what we usually have during normal business. That tells us 2 stories, basically. It tells us, and thank God, to what extent people in our region are determined. They definitely, they are worried about the crisis. They are worried about their health, but at the same time, they kept their focus. They are turning the threat and the risk of this phase into an opportunity. So instead of sitting home idle, they kept looking. They registered in the certification. There is a pre-work to be done. They've done it. They were there for 2 full days, and they have done the post-work as well. That's a big message there. That's a big message. I'm sure, I mean, it happened with Phoenix and Hogan certification, but I'm sure and I hope it's happening across. So as a region, if we can get out of this again, healthy and mentally strong with more skills to add, this is how we can help ourselves and the companies we are working for. The second message, and here maybe I would address this message to the top management of the companies and to the owners of the companies. It's interesting that, again, the number is much more, I would say, than the regular days. It might be only a thought. I cannot prove it, but my concern about this is maybe because people are too busy, maybe because when we are going on a regular basis to our offices, we are not getting the chance for a few days to go into some personal career development and training. And my message here, again, to the top management of the companies, to the owners of the companies, one day soon, inshallah, hopefully we'll go back to normal business. Please give those opportunities to your people in learning and development. I'll move to the second major aspect that we kept on supporting our clients, which is around online assessment centers. I told you a story about the assessment center in Oman, but this didn't stop with that client or with Oman as a territory. Across the region, in the early morning, I've counted the number to give you a very specific number. We have conducted more than 300 competency-based behavioral interviews. This is more than 300 people. They sat in front of their laptop with our consultants, with our assessors, and it was for development purposes or for recruitment purposes. And really, it feels amazing. It feels amazing that you not only talk about supporting, but you can walk the talk by supporting your clients and their employees in leveraging on this kind of dead time to do something very useful to all the stakeholders. Okay. The third one, which is the regular consulting that we do, we usually go and sit with the top management, with the HR departments, have workshops, have brainstorming sessions. We design things. All of this work, we've been able to do it online and remotely. I should also mention, it's not, I mean, the whole thing is rosy. I purposely insisted or emphasized on the positive sides that we've done externally with our clients. However, I wouldn't hide another truth, which is a fact that COVID-19 has affected us as a business. I mean, if anyone would tell you it hasn't at all, and life is rosy and we're doing great, it's relative, I would say. We were very close to opening a fourth office for us in UAE. Basically, the plan was around end of March. So that was a major milestone for us. And unfortunately, because of this, we couldn't do it. We couldn't, finish the procedure and the paperwork to open the office. The second major negative thing happened. In January, I would say we won, the biggest consulting project we've ever won in the last 10 years from a scope perspective, from a financial perspective. And the plan was to start also end of March. However, with the crisis coming, the clients, and it was definitely normal, we were expecting this, put the project on hold, and God knows what's going to happen after the crisis would be over. Despite all of this, major hits, I would say, we kept it positive. We were disappointed, yes, but did we let it get into us and just stay idle and cry or say, well, we're unlucky, it's bad luck? No, we kept it going. We focused on what we can do online, and we've done great things, as I've mentioned. So that's how we, as Phoenix Consulting, dealt with the crisis, and we're gonna keep on dealing with it like this. We're gonna adapt to the crisis. Definitely hoping it will end soon. It wouldn't last more than a few weeks. The third major fold that I'm gonna be discussing, and that's gonna be, I hope, also interesting for you, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. It's about the state of remote work. What does this mean? We've all known and we've been familiar with the concept of behavioral competencies in the workplace, how important certain competencies for certain jobs. So depending on the job holder should have a certain level of those behavioral competencies, definitely beside the technical competencies. But the focus here is going to be on the behavioral competencies. So what happened? The crisis started. Companies, owners, employees, everybody was rushing really to make sure they are equipped to work remotely from home. So they were worried about smart devices, about video conferencing, about the internet security, and all of these logistics, infrastructure, which are definitely crucial. However, having all of this infrastructure alone without the behavioral competencies needed. So even if you have the device, if you don't have something from within that gonna keep you focused, that's gonna keep you having the motivation, that's gonna keep you, having the self-management, that's gonna basically let you every day communicate effectively with your team members, with your clients, with the outside world. All of these devices, it wouldn't help. So the behavioral competencies here are very important to be able to keep going regardless, again, of how long this crisis is going to be. It's something from within. People have to feel the edge to go and wake up in the morning and feel like, we have an assignment today. We have someone we need to help today. And that's basically, those are the behaviors that are needed in the workplace, definitely, but while working remotely and from home, that they are needed in a much more extent to be able to do the job. Now, the second part is about, okay, we do have those competencies and we're adapting them, but what we're going to be doing to maximizing our success. So we can do the job and our performance can be, average. Everybody is happy, but the question here is, how are we going to maximize this success? How are we going to make the best out of it? The top and all what I'm sharing with you are based on a global research that our partners Hogan have done and have conducted. To maximize success, the first factor would be, as we mentioned earlier as well, is to take care of yourself. As simple as that. If you don't keep your health and emotions up and intact, you wouldn't be able to, let's say, establish a schedule. And I'm moving to the second factor. You have to be organized. We have to really think and plan our days, our weeks, our even months ahead of time. We cannot keep it, ad hoc. Well, I'll wake up, I'll see what to do. If you don't, and if we don't be disciplined enough to have a full-fledged schedule, be it again internally or externally, things might, get loosened and things get diluted, and we would lose our focus and our motivation. So we need also, the third part is to maintain our motivation. We need to really think about what's the aspect, what's triggering us. What are the things that we would like to do that would have impact on our motivation and on our productivity? And then we need to focus on these things. The fourth factor is about, adapting to the objectives, depending on the circumstances. Maybe you have noticed I've used the word adaptation or adapt many times. Under such circumstances, adaptation is a great competency that we need in order to, again, pass this crisis safely. If we have put objectives and we felt it has changed, the circumstances have changed, or the objectives are not smart enough, let's relook at those objectives and adapt them depending on the circumstances that we are living. One of the main, you've heard definitely about agility. One of the main behaviors and competencies for an agile leader is if he or she would adapt his business, adapt his teams to the circumstances that they are facing, or adapting to a new opportunity. It doesn't have to be negative. It can be very positive sometimes. So if a leader wouldn't adapt and grab opportunities, that's not really, I would say, agile. It wouldn't get to the business results that all of us want. Make relationships a priority. Some of us are introverts, some of us are extroverts. So, I mean, everyone has his characteristic in his personality. However, in such circumstances, everyone needs to put some efforts there. Even the extrovert people, when you may be listening to the news, seeing what's happening, saying in New York, for example, or in Italy, thousands of people are dying every day. It definitely gets to us. It makes us feel like, you know what? I feel like not talking to anyone. I feel like just sitting there and watching the news. No, don't do that. I mean, it's very important to stay in touch, make relationships, be active on social media, read more, educate yourself more, and participate in webinars like this, like you're doing today. So by doing all of these 5 actions, we can maximize the success of our work during remotely and during COVID-19. The last part of the presentation is around the importance of personality assessment in the business. This is a little bit general. It's not purely around the crisis, but its importance is more during the crisis. In other ways, let me put it in or phrase it differently. Why personality assessment is important, it's even more important now. Usually we do recruitment through the regular, traditional recruitment by interviewing people. We don't have the chance or the opportunity to do it now. We can do the interview online, yes, but the personality assessment will give you strong strong results about the candidates that you are basically interviewing for the job. We all know the cost of having or bringing someone on board, and after a few months you would discover that he or she is not fitting within our culture or not meeting the corporate environment that we have. Through personality assessment, I wouldn't say that you can mitigate 100% of the risk, but trust me, you can mitigate 90 and 95% of the wrong recruitment that you might do without. Personality assessment also is very important in building and managing a team. During the last few years, I'm sure you're becoming more and more, as I said, aware and focused around behavioral competencies. This doesn't mean the technical competencies are not important, but to build a team, you have to have a coherent team. You have to have a team where everybody speaks the same language, have the same values, having them all not only accepting the culture, but practicing the culture of the company. And personality assessment would help you select those people that they would be best fit for the team to be able to build a better team. I've mentioned this. I mean, this is the last slide, also around the personality assessment in the workplace and how important to have a practice in your organization where personality assessment would be and should be one of the elements. I'm not saying it cannot be. I mean, don't recruit based on the personality assessment alone, but it's a very important element in the combination of different elements to be able to take a decision of recruiting someone. The last few words is around you guys, us as Phoenix Consulting. You've heard me talking about what we do, the support we can provide. We are very much active on all social media, our website. This is the email displayed on the screen. Please reach out to us. I'm not here. I'm not in the business of selling. It can be a small advice for your own career. It can be a big advice for your company. During, again, those circumstances, we would be more than happy to support you and your business during this crisis and after the crisis, inshallah. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being with us. And now I'm more than happy to take your questions.
Yes, Mr. Zahi, we have one question. What are the key KPIs as per you to understand if the remote teams are working well or not?
Sorry, can you come in again? What are the KPIs?
Yes, what are the key KPIs as per you to understand if the remote teams are working well or not?
Well, I mean, we have discussed the competencies that are important for remote work. And we all know that the competencies and the balanced scorecard, we can formulate KPIs. KPIs are basically tangible figures that we need to set and formulate to be able to measure performance. Each organization, depending on the industry, depending on the department, would have different KPIs from I would say measurement perspective. It's very hard to put numbers here, but my answer would be if we adapt those competencies that we have discussed, and they are on the presentation. I'm sure Bayt will share with you the presentation. For sure, you would be meeting your objectives and your KPIs regardless of, again, the tangible numbers there. Because it varies, again, it varies.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Zahi. We have one more question. How do we manage employees who are, yes, how do we manage employees who are non-productive right now, but are good fit for the company for the future?
Again, it's about communication. You have to keep on communicating with those employees. You have to, being there, your employees, I'm assuming you know them, you know what trigger them. You have to find this spot where you need to hit in a way that you would trigger their interest and their bring their focus again. It's not easy. What my message here as well is, I mean, it's not an easy circumstances. I would tell this to everybody who is facing such cases, that be patient, work on your own, honestly, competencies to be patient, to be a leader, to be a servant leader, Talk to those employees. Don't take hard decisions. It's not easy what they are going through. Just support them and be patient with them.
Thank you, Mr. Zahi, for sharing your insights with us, and I'm sure this will be another study for attendees. Also know that this session is recorded and it will be available on our vFair platform, so everyone can view it later on. Thank you, everyone, and stay connected because we still have 4 coming sessions for today, and the next one is at 12 Lebanon time. Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you,
Zahi,
everyone.
again, and I wish you a good day.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bayt and the Bayt team. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Same to you. Bye-bye.